All right, today I'm going to talk about Calendso. It's an open source Calendly alternative. It's by Bailey Pumfleet and Alex van Andel and Pia Rich. They both contributed as well, but it's mostly Bailey's contributions here with 28 commits. So they published their source code today. It's MIT licensed. Like I said, it's an open source alternative to Calendly. They currently have one integration with Google Calendar. So it checks basically your available times on Google Calendar, and then people can book times with you. They have a very nice, quick development setup, and we're going to install it real quick and spin it up. I actually forked the repo. I already have it here. I forked the repo. And cool. Yeah, let's dive in. Actually, let me grab that. I want to all right. Let's just open up in Visual Studio Code. So according to the docs, we run yarn install. I'm going to use it with npm. Still didn't jump on that yarn train. I guess I should copy the end file over. Then we need a Postgres DB. For that, I'm going to use Railway. We'll get to that in a moment. And they're using Prisma also, which is great. So they have the Prisma schema here. You can just look into it real quick. I guess I don't have the extension for Prisma for my Visual Studio Code. My friends at Prisma will not be happy about that. But yeah, so it's taking the database URL. We have three models: the user, the credentials, and the event type. Seems simple. Cool. Yeah, first things first, I guess, run that npm install. Hope that's not going to take forever. In the meantime, while that's running, we need to get our Google API credential so that we can actually create this integration with Google Calendar. Let me open that in a new tab. Whoever built this Google Cloud platform definitely was not a friend of developers. It's super confusing. I don't know. I hope I'm not the only one who thinks that it's confusing. All right. I actually created already a project, but we can do it from scratch. Then you see the pane. It's called Calendso MFTS. Billing, yeah, you just need a billing account, you need an organization and another organization location. So we create that. It's creating that project for us right here. Everything takes a little bit. We select the project. And we are in. So first things first, we need to allow our Google Calendar API, otherwise none of this works. So we want to enable that. Once that's enabled, okay, it will show us the summary. We don't need that. So this is what I mean. Like, how do I get back to my project? How do I get back to my project? I'm already in my project. Okay, well, I'm just gonna create a credential from here. It's nice. What credential do we need? Google Calendar API. Choose what you need. JavaScript. No, but that's not what I want. I want this. I want an OAuth consent screen. So I want to hit external so that also people outside my organization can create their own Calendso link on my website. I'm gonna call it Calendso by MFTS. That works. The support username is this. I'm not gonna have an app logo. I'm not gonna have a page. I'm just gonna type in my own address here. That's gonna create the consent screen for me. Now I want to add scopes. For this, I can check the scopes. And now for the scopes, we need exactly 2 scopes. But actually, okay, all this worked while we were at it. Don't like that it actually created already the schema for Prisma. Sorry that I'm jumping around. But what I want to show you is the integration, which scopes we need. So we have 2 scopes here in the integrations Google Calendar tab, the calendar read only and the calendar.events. So these are the 2 that we want to search. So I've got the calendar read only, and not to be mistaken with this ACLS read only. This is for sharing permissions. And then we have calendar events, and those we can update and save and continue. And now we can add test users here. I guess I'm gonna add a test user. I'm not gonna deploy this yet. So I'm gonna add this user. Add. Save and continue, and we're good to go. It's just a quick summary. Back to dashboard. Now we can actually add a credential. So now we've just configured the consent screen. Now we need this OAuth2 credential. And this is the way we do this here. Select the application type. I guess I need to give it another name. Calendso. Because I'm gonna do this from localhost, I'm just gonna add localhost here. I need a redirect URI, but there was something like that in the callback URI. Here we go. This I need to copy because this is basically where it redirects. Localhost 3000, and then this callback create. Cool. So this is now my client secrets. Everyone can see it. But what I want is not the individual secret, but I want to download this JSON file here. The JSON file is actually, I can just open it. It's basically this thing called web, and then you have the client ID, project ID, auth URI, token URI, auth provider URL, client secret, and all the redirect URIs and the origins. So they will be handy. Actually, I will copy this for now. Close this. Then jumping back here, the next step in the setup would be to copy the environment variable into a real environment variable. I'm not going to use the database URI. The credentials that we just copied from the JSON, I'm going to paste here. So like you see now, it's just a big JSON that I copied in here. because they're using Next auth for the authentication. You can see they're using Next auth here. Next auth actually requires a URL. So we need to put this here. I guess they forgot to add that in the example environment. And now we want to create our database because we're opting not to go for a local database, but I want to spin up a database already in the cloud. And I love Railway. What Jake and the team built here is freaking amazing. You saw how quickly the Postgres database was spun up. So I'm just copying the Railway link here because I already have my project. I already have this command line tool installed. Just updated it before this stream. I'm just now need to link up my project with this famous waste project. So I'm just gonna paste this in here. It's gonna link up, hopefully tell me that everything was successful. Great. So production environment is production for our database. Don't be alarmed. You can always change that. For example, here in settings, you can actually create an additional environment. Oh, sorry, here. Here you can create an additional environment. So, but for now, because we just want to spin it up, test it out, it's fine by us. So the next step in the documentation, so we copied everything in. Now we need to push our database. I'm just going to copy this over here. However, because I want to run it now with my Railway database, what Railway actually does, it injects, when I do Railway run and then some command, it actually injects environment variables from my Railway account. And I can see that by typing Railway environment variables. And you can see that's my database URL that was just created on the fly. It's the same that I would have here. So it's exactly the same URL. And yeah, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Railway run npx Prisma db push features. Let's hope nothing goes bad. Let me just double check. So we have Prisma 18 here and Prisma 2.18 and Prisma 2.18 here. Should be fine. There's the latest Prisma is now 2.21.2, but let's see if it works with this. So it's understood. There's a Prisma schema file. It's generating, syncing. There's an update available. I love Prisma. They're so thoughtful with their hints. Everything works. We generated a Prisma file, and now we want to create a user. So before we do yarn dev, we want to actually create a user in Prisma Studio. So I downloaded Prisma Studio already, and we can use this. This is an old project. Let me close Prisma Studio. Okay, so this is an old project. The way I figured out I can run Prisma Studio, because if I just open the schema file here in open source and go to the schema file, I will actually get an error, really nasty error. That's it because we cannot find the database URL in the environment variables. All right, let me close that. What I can do, I can open Prisma Studio with Railway Run and just basically inject those environment variables. So schema.prisma looks good. Everything will open. So this is the file that I want. I will go to my user model because here I want to create a new record. I'm just gonna create the same as my Twitter handle, mark my email. Right here they said, okay, just use this to generate a password. Hello world, super secure. Copy that, paste that in. Be careful when you paste it, or if you generate it from the command line, it's safer, obviously. If you paste it from the web, there's this like odd space behind here, so we want to do backspace real quick. And everything else we don't need to update. Created ad will be automatically generated. Saving that, and we have a new record. Okay, cool. So now we can actually, I always want to type Rails for some reason. Railway run npm run dev to spin up our front end, because our backend is already running, or our database is already running with Railway. So now we just want to connect. Also want to run it with Railway run, because that way we inject our database URL as well in our front end package. So it's all written in Next.js. I love Next, I love Vercel. So that's super cool. Okay, this we can close. Just gonna open this. It should generate already the file. I'm already logged in by accident because it ran on a different account. Sorry about that. Let me just clear the site storage. That way we have a fresh start. So hello world. Signing in, and of course it doesn't work. Warning, generated keys, auto generated signing keys. Okay, yeah, that's what I hoped would not happen. Let's try this again. I love next auth. Okay, so there was just some issue. And that's it, we're running, up and running. We have our user, we have our user profile. I have this cool handle, vanity URL, I guess. That's my name. I can write something about myself. I can upload a photo. I can change passwords. I can set my availability. I can set a new event type. But first, I want to create an integration. So this is what we've created before. I want to connect my calendar. So now I hope that it works, because I actually created that before already. So here I see, okay, Calendso, it wants to have access to my events on my calendar and see my calendar, basically. I'm just going to allow that, and it works. So just to click on it again, we can see that in the API key, we actually have exactly what we, this is the API key that was generated by Google based on those two scopes. I can hide that again. It's not really relevant for us. It will be just used in the background. Here, I guess after the first integration, this is kind of hard coded, but they just launched today, so let's not be so hard on them. It's really cool what they built. Quick chat. That's my new event type. Book 30 minutes with me to talk about open source. Okay, so 30 minutes. I want to create that and change the available times. Maybe make it from 9 to 8. Update. And now my days are set from 9 to 8. What I'm missing here is that there's no direct link. Like you saw that I have this domain, but it becomes not apparent from here. Like I cannot click anywhere here. So I can just edit and update this event. But actually, if I open it in a new page and I go to MFTS 0, I can actually book the chat. Sorry about the call. And I can book the time. Let's book with as Mark with another email. Love to talk about open source. So the time is set, confirmed, and this is booked. Now I can check in my calendar, which is actually pretty empty. But you can see it's booked for 11. Meeting with Mark. Love to talk about open source, what we just generated. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. We can probably also check in our event types. They should also be updated. I guess not. Maybe refresh. Showing. Okay, quick chat. So we can also see that we have one event type. Cool. Yeah, so this is all running. Right now it's running locally. I could easily deploy this to Vercel. It's next, so it will run very smoothly. And yeah, like just check out the source and dig in. I mean, they have lots to catch up on, they want to, like, there's lots more integrations that we can add here, like Outlook and other types of calendars. And of course, then, Zapier integrations and whatnot. And also just improving the user interface. So just adding, I guess, making this a small link or adding a small button here to open it in a new window would be super helpful. And then everyone can deploy their own Calendly link and maybe integrate it also in their own project. So sorry for the long video. I hope you had some fun with me, and sorry for the 2 calls. I'll try to, keep it shorter next time. And yeah, I have this like Loom frame here because I want to celebrate their launch and super excited for them. I'll go to the main field again. Check them out at Calendso on Twitter and on GitHub, Calendso/Calendso. Yeah, make sure to follow these guys. They're pushing. They're growing like crazy. So if I just refresh, they probably added another couple of stars and watchers and forks. So thanks so much for watching. Check it out and deploy your own Calendly or Calendso. Bye-bye. Until next time.